Hello and welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It is the 26th of April 2018. Just a few mopping up bits. Yesterday was the first time I did a live stream on YouTube for the Pursuit of Truth, and it was basically the first 38 podcasts that I'd made as one whole video. Using OBS to stream it. It was fairly easy. It didn't get much viewers, much like the normal YouTube videos, but it was interesting. There was only a small bit of chat. I know it got 1 thumbs down and I think 2 thumbs up. There was one positive. I think there was two positive comments, and there was I think there was 2 negative ones, but there was one really big negative one at the end, where it looked like it just cut and paste. And it's interesting that both the negative ones didn't have any content on their YouTube page, and they had no videos, no nothing. And it looked, I don't know, to all intents and purposes, it looked like it'd just been set up just to make those comments, which is, I mean, I see it on when I'm watching YouTube, when I see on Jamie Brown or Sheeps and Neeps or Beyond the Imaginary Curve or Rebecca's Way or Meryl Beauregard. I see all these things take place where people comment, and when you check their profiles, you see that their sole purpose was to create an account just to make that comment. I mean, have they got nothing better to do? But it is interesting how it draws this attack. And this person was saying, the messages came so quickly that it looked like cut and paste. They came out in a big 4-line. It's towards the end of the video. I don't think it even went onto YouTube for some reason. Maybe I didn't set something up properly, because I thought the live ones would be on there as well. But yeah, he was just attacking, what I was saying, and sort of making out that flat Earth people were misrepresenting and causing criminal acts and wasting money and what was another misrepresentation? There was another few things he said there, and it was just so ludicrous, the things he was saying. I mean, I only talk for myself. I can only give my own opinions, and a lot of what I say is what I'm trying to understand and what I believe to a certain degree, and what I can and can't prove, and things that don't seem right and logical. So for him to launch all this at me, it's like, well, that's nothing to do with me. And anyway, I don't know of any flat Earth person that is misrepresenting or making any kind of problem with people and money. I mean, if anything, people are losing money to do these things. So I don't really understand it just didn't make any sense. He just wanted to level, say some words at me, and create an account just to do that. I think it's called Flat Earth Scam or something like that. So that was interesting to see that I did actually draw that attention. I didn't think I would actually. It'd be interesting how long it's going to take for someone to flag this up to YouTube that's inappropriate, even though all they are is just my thoughts and feelings and what I see to be the truth. Whether that is even possible. The other thing I was going to talk about, yesterday I was watching Sky News. It was the Amber Rudd Windrush debacle, scandal, whatever you want to call it. What is she calls it? Cohorts. That word seems so cold to describe the situation. But yeah, she looked like she didn't know what she was doing. There were times when 2 of her department members were asked a question they didn't know about targets, and apparently it's come out now that there were targets set. She didn't know anything about them. She seemed to be protecting the Prime Minister, who was the Home Secretary at the time. But the most annoying thing was her assistant, her not telling the truth, not answering questions. Well, maybe not telling the truth is not, well, it depends how you take that, but if you feel that avoiding to answer a question is not telling the truth, then maybe she didn't tell the truth. But she did what all these politicians do, is that when they're given a question, rather than saying yes or no, or actually giving an answer, they give a statement about the subject, rather than the actual answer to the question. That was a very interesting point where they mentioned that this man had to provide for each year. He had to provide 4 documents to prove where he was, and he did. Apart from the first few years, he couldn't provide those, which were over like 30 years ago, and he was refused entry into the UK. He was refused citizenship. And Yvette Cooper, who's chairing this committee, asked Amber Rudd, "Do you have 4 pieces of documents proving your whereabouts in 1989?" So obviously, if you were a real person and you really wanted to talk about this issue, away from your own self, you would have answered, like if they asked me that question, I'd say probably not. No, I don't think I have any. What documents do I have from 1989? I don't think I have even any legal documents. I'm not really that old enough. But even if I was, okay, maybe I'd have a bank statement, because I do keep my bank statements. But everything else, like my gas bill, my electricity, my credit card, my phone bills, all those things, Sky, Virgin, whatever, all those things, I don't keep them for that long. I throw them away. Otherwise, I'd be like Iron Mountain, full of lots of pieces of paper. So, yeah, I know I wouldn't have. I mean, I could prove 4 documents is a lot, but for this year, last year, maybe the year before, I could do that. But anything over that, no, I couldn't do that, and I think that would be unreasonable to ask someone to do that. Are you expecting to have to keep your electricity bill for life, all of them? Especially nowadays, also when they don't even have paper documents anymore, because they all want to go paperless. So why didn't she just answer it like that? But her answer was, she started talking about the system and how she's changed it and made it more personable, and a caseworker would look at it, and the caseworker, she said it wouldn't be 4 documents, the caseworker would look at a number of documents or something like that. She uses some word that actually doesn't specify how many documents they need to look at, and I expect they actually probably now they look at 3, but the fact that they just didn't actually specify how many they would need, she said a number of or something like that, words to those effect, showed that she was hiding the truth or didn't know it. But I don't know why she just couldn't answer that question and say, yeah, it's not reasonable, it's not fair. What's so difficult for them to say that? Is that because then they would say, well, wait a minute, you're in charge of this, why are you doing that? And the very fact of the matter is that had this not been brought up by the Guardian and by whoever else levelled these things that she claims she only known for a few months, then would she have changed any of this? No, of course she wouldn't. She didn't realise that this was all happening, and despite being in charge of it. I mean, I would be surprised if she lasts the rest of the week. And then, of course, the question is the Prime Minister, who was the Home Secretary for all these years when it was going on, and is a very strict person when it comes to this. So I don't know how long she's got after this, because it depends. Amber Rudd might take the flak, be the fall guy, so that she escapes it, because usually they won't look for more than one person. And there you go. And I don't know, I did record this yesterday, but it didn't save, but I don't know if I mentioned this previously, that my issue with Theresa May and the Home Secretary, I remember writing to her, I didn't get any response from her. When my wife, she's South African, and she was applying for British citizenship after doing all the things of coming here and doing all that stuff where you have to pay thousands of pounds and fill out every single detail every single time. Oh my goodness, if I see another form from the government, I will go mad. They make you jump through so many hoops. It's so bureaucratic. It's so old-fashioned. It is just laughable, really, what we have to do to prove ourselves to them, despite them meaning to serve us. But anyway, so yeah, she was refused because they said that, oh, she doesn't have a good level of English. Despite coming from South Africa, her English is perfect. And they were saying that, well, they have a list of the countries they accept as where English is taught as a main language. And anyone who comes from South Africa will know that English is the main language in South Africa, that at school you have to do 3 languages. It's one of the official languages. There's 11 official languages in South Africa. One of them is English. Where at school you have to do 3, and those are English, Afrikaans, and a language of your choice like Sotho or Zulu or whatever. But you definitely have to do English. So everyone in South Africa does English at school. So I don't understand what they meant by it just wasn't on the list. And then obviously, of course, South Africa was a Commonwealth country. That's why English is there. So now I'm starting to think, at the time, obviously I couldn't argue it because we wanted it to get her citizenship. But now I'm thinking that, well, maybe there is a racist side or a very strict side under Theresa May, under the Home Office, that this should be investigated as well. That if it is, that's the fact is, like, I would understand if I looked it up and I found out that no, it's not a national language, or it's not taught at schools for every single person that's there. I would understand them refusing that, but the fact that it's not on their list. My goodness. And the only other thing I wanted to update is about the Alfie Evans that's still going on. It's interesting to see the media, how they're biased, they're attacking people for protesting outside. It's good that people are protesting. People should be protesting all the time about this shitty world that we live in and all the injustices that are against us. But this is why people don't do it, because you get labelled as a protester, as someone bad. You're bad for standing up for other people's rights. And now the question is, why are these people getting involved? They shouldn't get involved. They're making it more difficult. No. If they didn't get involved, the hospital or the government or the state or whoever would be able to get away with whatever they wanted. It's only when we all stand together that we get listened to. This child is the right should be their parents, no matter what. Whether you like it or not, are we free or not? And that's what I've mentioned previously, but they're still getting refused, and they're still saying it's in the best interest that they do the care that they've already set up, which means basically allow him to die. Now the father is suing Alderhay for conspiracy to murder, which is interesting that he's levelling that. But yeah, I don't understand why, if it's a good enough hospital that he's going to and the treatment is very similar, what's the harm? What's really the harm? These parents are not doing anything detrimental. I'd understand if it was going to, I don't know, maybe like if they said, they want to go to a homeopathic or something and the child would be in a lot of pain. But if it's a proper hospital, then why don't they just check that out? Can the hospital care for this child? If the hospital can give the same care that they're giving, what's the problem then? What's the problem that they want to keep them alive? Why do they want him to die? It's not their child. They can never care that much as the parents do. Let's stop telling people what to do with their children. And then this goes in across to the idea of state, isn't it? Nanny state, and the fact that we have no power. And that's why all these people are protesting. Because that's what we're being shown now. Really, we don't have any power. We don't even have power over our own children. My goodness, we've allowed that to happen. And I think this is going to ruin the reputation of Alderhay Hospital. Because of, I know it's not them per se, it's the high courts and etc. that are refusing. But that's the way they always are. They're always like, oh no to everything, unless it benefits them. This shouldn't even be in the high courts. If the parents want to move their child, and well, it's their right, isn't it? Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless and peace.